Hi, I'm Cody Anderson, one of the pastors at Parker United Methodist Church. Well, this week we started off our Little Blessings preschool school year. If you have not been into our building when our preschool is in session, then you are missing out. Missing out on a lot of energy, a lot of fun, a lot of busyness. With 14 classrooms, over 200 children, over 40 teachers within our building, our church becomes a hustle and bustle type of place, filled with lots of energy, lots of excitement, lots of joy. But the first few weeks of our preschool year are usually the hardest. The hardest because anytime we start something new, there are a lot of emotions and feelings that come with that, especially with children who this might be their first classroom experience. This might be the first time that they are away from mom and dad. This might be the first time that they're having to meet new friends and stretch in those new places. There's also a lot of feelings with parents, right? I remember leaving my children for the first time, and reaching that milestone brings you joy, but also brings you a lot of tears. The tears come from our children and our parents with a little bit of fear, right? Fear of the unknown, fear of what might come. And so we have to practice being brave and courageous. At every milestone that we reach, there's a little bit of fear, a little bit of excitement, but also a lot of nerves. It happens to us when we go to kindergarten, when we go into a new classroom, when we go from middle school to high school, when we go from high school to college, when we go to from college into entering into the workforce, right? All of these new milestones bring out a little bit of emotion, excitement, and also fear. I've been thinking about that as we are into our Marvel superhero sermon series and thinking about what it takes to be a superhero. And the one thing that I can think of is bravery, courage, right? Facing the unknown and having to trust in your abilities, trust in your capabilities. And this last week, we learned about the Avengers, a group of superheroes that come together to use their superhero unique talents and abilities to fight for good and fight evil. But they can't do it on their own. And I've been thinking about that with courage, that a lot of times facing new things, we cannot do it on our own. So today I have my superhero costume on. This is one of our t-shirts that we're selling with our church that says, I can help. I can help, right? I'm a team member. I'm here to help you to use my gifts and talents and to help you be the best that you can be. So if you haven't gotten one of your shirts yet, make sure you find that order form in our midweek and order your shirts, because these are things that we can wear out in the community. I wore this today on the second day of preschool just to let parents know that I was there to help and to support. It's a way that we can share that message with others, that we are here to help serve, to help share love, to help share hope. As we think about superheroes, what is the one thing that they are all working towards? Towards a better something, right? Making the community better, making the world better, fighting off evil so that good can prevail. And what's needed when you are fighting that off is a lot of hope. Hope that things can be better, that hope that things can be different if I put myself out there in the world. So I'm reading this book called Hope Sings, Risk More, Dream Bigger, Fear Less. It's by Susan Foth Aughtmon, Aughtmon. And in this book, she talks a lot about how we can be able to move out of our comfort zones and face things that are bigger, right? If we think about superheroes, they have to move out of their comfort zones. They have to rise above the regular population of people and be able to move into a bigger space. And so we think about our fears that our kids have about starting a new school, making a new friend, wondering if the teacher is going to like them, wondering if they're going to be able to learn, to be able to do the reading homework for that night. But as we grow older, we understand that there are also other anxieties and fears that happen to us. Grown-up fears, right? Those fears like, will my family be safe? Will we be able to handle a tragedy that might happen? Will I be able to keep my job that is helping us provide for our lifestyle? Will I be able to support my children emotionally and also spiritually and help them grow into the people that they need to be? Right? We can get caught up in these grown-up fears and anxieties, and it's hard for us to be able to move out of them. It sometimes paralyzes us. It moves us into not being able to face those things that are before us. So she talks a lot about being brave. And in this book, she shares the story of Eleanor Roosevelt during World War I, who was asked to help through the Red Cross to go and to visit St. Elizabeth's Hospital in Washington, D.C. If you remember, her husband, Franklin, he was the assistant secretary to the U.S. Navy. And so she knew what her duty was going to look like. And she was terrified. She knew that she would be facing people who had huge injuries from battles, from grenades and machine guns, mustard gas that was wreaking havoc on bodies, minds, and spirits of these young recruits. And so she shares about her journey, about the soldiers who were coming home to the hospital, who were usually seriously wounded. And she knew that they were suffering, not only bodily, but also from shell shock, that post-traumatic stress disorder. And she knew that some would never recover, and their families would have to deal with the fallout of that. And so in this book, they talk about Eleanor Roosevelt and how she didn't know what kind of mental wounds that she would encounter, what kind of physical wounds that she might encounter. And that brought her into a space of fear. But she had to rise above that fear and to find hope. She had to realize the gifts that God had given to her to be able to then go and to love others, to provide care and support. She had to let her heart, her passion, her belief in what was right and good galvanize her into action. And so Eleanor Roosevelt said, "You gain strength, courage, and confidence by every experience in which you really stop to look fear in the face. You must do the thing you think you cannot do." So what is the thing that you think you cannot do? What is the thing that God might be asking you to face and you aren't sure you can do it? That fear is paralyzing you. See, like Eleanor Roosevelt, we must do things that we think that we cannot do. We can't let fear dictate our actions. We can't let fear determine whether we will walk in our faith. We must hold on to that faith and trust that God is always with us. Isaiah 41:10 says, "Do not be afraid, for I am with you. Do not be discouraged, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will hold you up with my right hand." If we can hold on to that scripture, remembering that God will never leave us, that God is always with us, and that we don't have to be afraid because we find our courage through Christ, then we're able to go out and to help the world. We're able to go into places that we never thought we could go. We're able to share God's love and grace and, most importantly, hope with those who are having a hard time finding hope, with those who are having a hard time facing what they're going through. So, my friends, let's be a people who help. Let's be a people who live in that assuredness of Christ, hope, and love in our lives, and let it move us out into the world. Do not be afraid, for God is with you. Do not be discouraged, for God is with you. God will strengthen you and will help you. God will hold you up with his victorious hand. As a Christian, as a follower of Jesus, we know that we never go into life alone. Yes, we have each other, but most importantly, we have God. Let us hold on to that hope and share that hope with others as we go into the world to help bring God's love and grace to others who are in need.